Remember these mermaid tails we made earlier? I'll put a link in the description box below. Well, after making these, I bought a lot of PVC pipe to make moons. And then I started wondering, mermaid moon. And when I Googled that term, these are some beautiful images that inspired me to make this next soap. So here I have my normal recipe of soap. I've sectioned a small portion off and colored it a silver gray, but the rest I'm leaving uncolored. Now I'm going to take the silver gray, and from varying heights I'm going to swirl it into the soap. This will ensure that that swirl goes all the way from top to bottom throughout the soap batter. Then once I do that, I'm going to pour this swirl into my PVC pipe mold. This mold is far too tall to be able to fit under my camera while I'm pouring, so you'll just see it in the corner here. You'll notice when I finish pouring, you'll see the bottom where it's plastic wrap and then a cap. Now here we have a lot of problems with my camera, as you can see, but I set the moon to the side and let that set up for 2 days. I whipped up another batch of soap, colored it this gorgeous blue color, and I portioned off a small amount that I added no color to. We're going to pour this into the mold. You'll see on the left-hand side some long white strips of soap. Those are going to be some stars, but for now we're going to drizzle some of the uncolored soap, just a little bit of it, on top of the blue soap. I'm then going to swirl this white soap into the blue. This is to hopefully create kind of a shimmer from the moon on the ocean water. Then we're going to cover that moon glimmer with just a thin layer of the blue soap to give some separation between the moon and that shimmer. Now, here is our mega moon. I've unmolded it from the PVC pipe. I've sprayed it with some rubbing alcohol and rubbed it in really good to give it kind of a tacky surface so it can bond to the new soap. I place it in, and then I lose all my camera footage. So I covered it with more blue soap and added in those long strips of white soap. But I'm going to show you how I do that because I'm adding another layer. So I'm laying another layer because I wanted this soap bar to be tall enough to receive all the decorations that we're going to be putting on it. So I've added more blue soap, we're smoothing it down to cover all those stars, and then we lay more stars on top. Now these stars were created by extruding soap dough through a clay extruder or a soap extruder, which is what I use it for. It basically makes these long, not tubes because they're not hollow, but long cylinders of soap. And then when you slice through them, all you'll see are the little dots from the other angle. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Anyway, I texture and smooth out the top of the soap, cleaning up the sides as I go. And then because this is a midnight soap, I thought we'd add some Eco Hollow Glitter to the top, just to kind of add to that starry night effect. I set the soap loaf aside so it can set up, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to create my embeds, my decorations for the face of the soap. So I have some pale yellow soap dough that I'm rolling into these small balls. These are going to be my mermaid pearls. I take some snowflake sparkle mica and put it in a lid, and then I'm going to roll these little soap dough balls around, and they're going to become very glittery and very shiny. But I don't want them to look glittery like disco balls. I want them to look smooth and pearlescent. So then I put them on my work surface, and I'm going to burnish them. And I burnish them by rubbing them around with my fingers. This kind of gets all that glitter to line up with itself, and it loses the glitter and starts to look just smooth and shiny. I'm doing the same kind of technique here with this soap snake that I've made. This is going to be for seaweed. So I rolled out some green soap dough, but then I'm rolling it in some Snake Island Mad Mica's mica, and that's going to give it just that pearlescent, shiny look that I want it to have, almost as if it's still wet from the ocean. So I burnish it, make it look nice and shiny. Now I'm going to use this long skewer like a rolling pin. And I'm just going to roll out that soap dough and give it a nice flat surface. I could have done this with a clay extruder, but then it would have been more difficult to cover in the mica. So that's why I did it this way. Once it's all rolled out nice and flat, I'm just going to take pieces of it and just kind of pinch them and crimp them and make them look like twisty, wrinkled, organic looking seaweed pieces, hopefully. Or like green slimy eels or snakes. You know, whatever your imagination tells you it is. But I'm saying it's seaweed. I also made some little seashells using a mold the same way I did the mermaid tails. And now it's time to cut the moon soap. I'm so excited about this soap. I hope it turns out exactly the way I imagine it. I'm pushing extremely slowly down on my cutter because the moon on the inside of the soap is older and more firm than the soap surrounding it, and I don't want to cause any marring to the surface below, so I'm cutting extremely slow and steady. Here we go, it's time, and it's gorgeous! I love it. You have that kind of cloudy, drifty glimmer below the moon that looks like it's just shining off of a cresting wave, but you can't tell where the water ends and the sky starts because it's midnight, and that's how it should look out on the open ocean at night. Oh, I love these. They're beautiful. I would be perfectly happy with this soap just as it is, with no extra decoration. But this is a mermaid soap. So, let's take our beautiful bars and let's go make them mermaid soaps. So I make another batch of soap batter. And if you count the soap dough embellishments, that makes 4 batches of soap batter that has been used to create this bar of soap. So I gave a detailed video on how to decorate one bar, and I didn't record it, but I did record me whistling. But enough of that. But at least I did keep the camera recording while I continued to decorate the bars. So while you don't get the first detailed video, you do get a snippet of me decorating the bars in bulk. So I laid the mermaid tails on a blob of gray soap that is supposed to represent a rock out in the middle of the ocean. And now I'm decorating it by placing some pearls along the side. Kind of thinking of the mermaid treasures. You know, you never think of mermaids without some of their treasures. Pearls, seashells, seaweed, you know, just all the things that make the ocean just beautiful. It's basically a hidden treasure all its own with all the fun things that are in it. So that's what I'm doing here, is I'm just kind of decorating these as if it was a mermaid sitting out on a rock in the middle of the ocean, basking in the moonlight, surrounded by all the riches of the ocean around her. And then I'm just taking a portion of the white soap batter and I'm putting it down at the bottom to try to create cresting waves of water as they hit the rock and the tips of her tail, just kind of bursting up along them, little ocean spray. So I'm kind of sweeping it up in an upward motion. And then I'm adding in the little bits of seaweed that I created earlier. I'll have some of them coming up through the water. Some of them will just be attached to the sides of the rock as if they were just growing up along the side of the rock there. And here it is, folks, the finished Moon Dream Midnight Mermaid soap bar. I am so excited about this soap. I had so much fun making it. It was a very long process. I made it over the course of probably a week and a half all total, but they just turned out fabulous. We've got the shimmery mermaid tails, all of the mermaid treasure, the mermaid basking on a rock out in the middle of the ocean with waves cresting around her, with the moon shining down on her. Of course, I had to give it my signature stamp, so I decided to name this soap Moon Dream, because mermaids are every girl's dream, right? And then while I was making this soap, I had some extra batter. I had some extra batter from the moon, I had some extra batter from the sky and the stars. So I put all of that into a little small mold and made these little mini guest size moon bars. They're super cute, super pretty, perfect for the palm of your hand. And I thought, what a great accompaniment to the mermaid bar. So for everyone that buys a mermaid bar, they'll get a guest size moon bar to go with it. And that way you can enjoy the art from the mermaid bar a little longer, but still get to enjoy the beautiful soap that it's made from. And there you have Moon Dreams. Thanks for watching.